Welcome to another episode of the Rhythm of the Road podcast. This podcast is not just about the journey, but also about the growth, transformation, and self-discovery that comes with life on the proverbial road. Grab a cup of joe, buckle up, and let's embark on a journey of self-discovery, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Let's get rolling.
Today I'm going to hit a little bit far back. I'm going to take one from my archive hits. And by archive hits, I mean something that I learned from my dad about 25 years ago. And about 25 years ago, I was sitting down with him and we were having this conversation about where are we going in life? What does this look like? And I remember asking I want where you're at. I want the things that you're doing. I want to be able to do the things that you're doing. I want to go on the vacations. I want to feel like I can even go out to eat whenever we want and do some of those kinds of things. And the one thing that he told me, and it stuck with me ever since, obviously, is nothing is going to replace you doing the thing and taking the time except for doing the thing and taking the time. In other words, you need to go through the things that I've gone through, and you need to have the experiences that I've had or gone through your own to get to a point where you're going to have those opportunities. I was 20. I, was working full time. My wife, we had small children, and he's like, I don't have small children at home anymore. We work full time and we've been in our careers for 20 years. It's supposed to be different. That's how it's supposed to happen. So what I want you to think about today is, how many times have you had that conversation, whether it's with someone or in your head, where you're like, I want what that person has. I want to be where that person is. I want my business to be at where that business is at. Well, then you need to go through the things that they've gone through, or you need to do the things or spend the time or have the experiences that they've had that have led them to get there. Now, if you're going to work with a coach or a mentor or be part of some sort of mastermind group or training or something of that nature that can help you cut that time down, that's definitely something that you'll learn in your experience over time on how to cut down that amount of time that you might have to do, but then you're compounding and using the exponential growth of other people's experiences and learning so that you can cut down that time. That's just working smarter and using what you have available to you. But you don't always pick those things up in the beginning. In the beginning, you just need to put in the time. You need to take the effort. You need to do the things. You need to show up. You need to be persistent and consistent about the things that you're doing. I think we've talked about that on a previous episode on how important that is. And then just enjoy that journey along the way, because you're going to pick up things in that moments and along that way and in your journey that other person didn't have. And that is going to make your experience, when you get to that point, whatever that point is, you can define it, you can describe it, it doesn't matter, because it's different for all of us. We all have a different journey. We all have a different path. And even if we're shooting for similar goals, because nobody really has the same goal as anyone, we're all going to have a different path to get there. None of them are going to look the same. And here's a golden nugget for you. It's not going to be a straight line. It's going to look like a curvy, windy, up and down, jagged mess. And there might even be some circles in there where you have to turn around, or you're circling back, or you sit in a loop for a minute, right? Some people get stuck in LA in the roundabouts because they're 6 lanes wide, right? Think about that, right? It's easier than when you're in a small town and you either don't have to deal with roundabouts or there's only one lane. So there's only one way to go. This is a 1,000,000-lane highway that we're living in, and you can take any direction, and every one of them is going to give you a different outcome. So nothing is going to replace you just spending that time, taking those experiences and growing. About 10 years ago, I took some private lessons because as a drummer, I was finding myself struggling. I was playing with pain, but I was playing, 120, 130 shows a year. I needed to be in better physical condition. I needed to be able to handle that playing schedule, the endurance, the muscles, the mental fatigue, and the physical fatigue. And as I started taking lessons with Daniel Glass is a New York swing drummer. I've known him for a number of years. And the one thing he taught me when we first started was, don't put these things into practice yet. And by what did he mean by that? And what he meant by was, as we're beginning to develop, because he literally broke everything down to the basics of where I was and built it back up from the foundation and created really a brand new foundation. But what he said is, don't try to do all these new things or change these things or try to think about these things as you're in the moment, like when you're playing live or you're with other people on a gig or things of that nature. Like, you have to give that stuff time to seep into your body and really become a new habit or a new muscle memory, because I had, 20 years of habits that I had formed that I had to break down and then rebuild back up. So over the course of taking 3 years of lessons, I put in the time, I did all of the things. And then I also didn't think about them while I was out doing a live gig or a performance, because that wasn't what I was there to do. I was there to perform. Versus here in the practice room, I was here to be deliberate and intentional about the things that I was breaking down, the things I was doing to build up those skills. And what I found 4, 5, 6, 7 years later, and honestly, even sometimes still today, those things are showing up in my playing. Like, they seeped in with osmosis, but they took time. I had to allow them to creep in. I also had to be open to the idea that they will creep in. And then what they do is just celebrate that little moment of when they do, and then be like, oh, and then you can start to notice those things. And then once you start to notice those things, you can start to adjust and plan and have those things recur more and more and more until most of your experience is that new thing that you built into. So as you're building a new business or a side hustle or those kinds of things, you just need to put in the time for a long time and have all the experiences and go through all the things and learn and rebuild and break down and rebuild and learn and fail and then relearn and build and do those things. So that on the end of it, and it's not even the end, it's really the beginning of the journey of excelling in that space. So 10 years later, as I'm playing now, I'm excelling in my journey because all of those things have seeped into my playing, and they make it easier. And because they make it easier, it allows me to do new and better and greater things. Same thing is going to happen for you. You're going to create these skills or have these opportunities and have these experiences and build and learn and grow. And then it's going to allow you to catapult yourself into brand new things that you didn't even see or experience or know were even available to you until you did those things. And I would imagine, like me, for you, something new and brand new is going to show up that you could not even have thought about, dreamt about, or even imagined along the way. And for those that happens to, I'm excited for you. I can't wait to see that happen for you. And though I might never see that celebration from you, it's okay. I know it's going to happen for you. And so congratulations when it does. You can note it now that it will happen. So I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. I want to thank you for investing your time in you, because that's really what's most important here, is spending time for you to invest in you and build yourself up. And if you got something out of today, if you want to take the time to take 10 seconds and share this with one other person you think might need to hear it, I would be so honored and appreciative, because that's what we're all here to do, share in the community. And speaking of community, if you haven't yet, join us at my Facebook group at Road to 99. It's a group of like-minded people listening and talking to and having these types of conversations that are there to help each other and continue to help us grow. So make sure, head over to Facebook, Road to 99 group, join us over there. Let us know what you thought of this podcast episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the little bell button, and we'll see you on the next episode, and I'll see you down the road.
Thanks for cruising with me on this episode of Rhythm of the Road. Remember, the journey itself is the destination. Until next time, keep the rhythm flowing, and we'll see you down the road.